My name is Stanley. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm with the Anchor Point Group. Before I got to Lasting Mark, I had a very weird career path. I was in the corporate world, had a stint in ministry, and then landed back in the corporate world. When my wife and I had our son, I knew that I wanted more for him and for the life we could give him, and was just looking at opportunities. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, but I never really had the right vehicle to see that realized. And when I had some connections to the Shorts and reached out to them, and here I am. So life before this was not the most fun. I was in a corporate role, under the annoying lights in the office environment, and in office every day. Didn't get to see my wife or kid very often, and I just knew that's not what I wanted. It was decent pay, it was comfortable, but it wasn't what I knew I could be doing in my life. So this just seemed like like I said, the perfect vehicle for that. So yeah, I think the breaking point for me was I was in a staffing industry that really struggled to recover from COVID. And I was a manager, and they cut more than half my team and put all of their day-to-day work on my plate. So now I'm managing and then also doing the work of like the people I had been managing. And I had no time. I was pulling my hair out every day. For real, from like 9 a.m. to 6, I was stressed, and then I was dreading the next day. And I just was like, this isn't just taking me away from my family. Even the time I have with my family is ruined because I'm in my head and stressed. And so that to me, when I was like, I need to change. So I had no idea what I was looking for. I had never in my life thought I would be selling insurance as a career. I wasn't looking into insurance specifically. Honestly, I saw Roger Short's son-in-law was my college roommate, Paul. And I just had connections to them. I had seen him at family events and stuff and followed him on Instagram, and I was always intrigued. I was like, why is this guy always smoking cigars in foreign countries? What's he all about? I want to do more of this. And so I texted his daughter, Maddie, and was just like, hey, just tell me more about what your dad does. And that's good. She sent me Mike and Jalen with True Wealth. She sent me their Instagram, sent me links to get started. The come and see the Meet the Partners meeting. I went to that. That was my first intro to it. And it was really from there, I was like, okay. I remember texting my wife during the Meet the Partners meeting, I think I can change our life. I sent that like 10 minutes in. It was an amazing moment. It felt like, coming from the season that I had been in where I was just constantly drained and stressed and not feeling like fulfilled or my potential realized, to be able to send that text was like a glimmer of like, okay, there's a path out. I feel like I can clearly see the path. So it was from that point on, I don't think I ever doubted if I was gonna be in this. I did have some self-doubt about if I could do it, but I knew I was going to at least give it my best shot. So I got licensed at the end of the summer of 24, and had made a deal with myself or my wife that I was going to do it part-time in the evenings to like figure out the industry. It's commission only. I can't just leave a salaried position and risk not putting food on the table. So I was gonna, get settled, figure out the process, see if I could do it, get comfortable, and then if I can, go full-time at the beginning of this year in 2025. And those first 3 months, I didn't put in the activity that I needed. I was very gun shy about buying leads. I didn't I was like, you gotta spend money to do what? It just confused me. And I think I sold like 3 or 4 policies the first 3 months, until I went to my first telesales boot camp in Louisville. And from that point on, everything clicked. I think I sold 5 or 6 policies at that boot camp, and then came home and was like, oh, I can do this. Like from that point on, I was ready to go. So before I got into the insurance space with Lasting Mark, I was making a comfortable 6-figure salary. I was middle management at a corporate job. We were not wanting for anything. But since being in the industry, I made my salary issued paid in like the first 4 months. My annual salary in the corporate world I made in 4 months. So that speaks for itself. It's been life-changing in every way, in terms of doors it's opened, opportunities, platforms I never thought I would be on. God has been very good, and I'm just trying to steward that well right now. So there are, as far as tools and resources and training material, you cannot look anywhere at Lasting Mark and not see it. Like, it's everywhere. We have some of the best minds in the industry that are constantly putting out more content and putting together packets or training guides. So you really have to try to not feel adequately trained when you're with Lasting Mark. Some tools, I start almost every day listening to the Life Insurance Academy podcast. Their sales philosophy and process is what really flipped the script for me in my head and allowed me to, no pun intended, flip the script, allowed me to really start to succeed in this. So I do listen to that. There's so many agency owners in this space that have their own podcasts or put out training guides or scripts or what have you. And I'll attend any and all of those that I can or tune in and watch those. So but the Life Insurance Academy has been my go-to for sure. So when my wife and I had our son, we decided together we wanted her to be able to be home with him. And I got into this really with my main goal was to retire her by the end of this year. I remember I had not sold a policy yet at the fall meet last year. And I was watching all these people on stage like, how are they doing this? Like, do I believe it? I want to believe it. I don't know if I do, but I'm here. And when I was leaving that event, Mike Kortang, my upline, texted me, we're going to retire your wife by the end of next year. And I was like, okay, I want to believe him. I don't know if I do yet, but that really hit me. And so I got into that, came into this year with that as the goal. And she ended up putting in her 2 weeks at the end of April, or beginning of April. So yeah, life is very different. She's able to stay home with our son. We're not bringing in grandparents for childcare or having to pay for childcare, none of that. So she's able to be home full time with him. And I'm able to work with people I love and want to grow with. And so I feel like just mentally and spiritually, it's a much different place than I was at prior to Lasting Mark, because I have that precious time with my family. If I want to go to the zoo with them at noon on a Friday, I can do that because I hit my goal on Thursday or whatever. So it's given me time freedom and life freedom back I never thought I would honestly have in my life. So it's been amazing. The culture at Lasting Mark, and you see these videos and it's easy to hear the leaders talk about how good the culture is. I've been in a lot of different corporate and ministry environments that preach culture constantly. And something I've noticed is a tell is if you're only hearing about the culture from the people at the top, then you have a problem. And I've been in a lot of those environments, ministry, corporate, otherwise. And something here that is telling to me is everyone preaches culture. From a brand new agent, they walk in, they're like, this just feels different. I just onboarded a new agent, Nick, and he said, he went to the Meet the Partners meeting. He's like, I've been to 100 of those meetings. I've never been to one like that. And I think that rings true because anywhere you look, the character of our leadership trickles down into how the agency owners and other leaders in the organization lead their people. So it is absolutely irreplaceable. I think the culture here is unlike anything I've seen.
All right, and kind of last question here. Imagine someone was sitting for you months for corporate job, unsatisfied, tired.
Yep.
What advice would you give them if they weren't sure that they could do what Clark Stanley is doing?
I would tell you that a year ago today, more or less, I was sitting in your seat. I was exhausted. I didn't feel fulfilled. I was very doubtful that I could pull this off and didn't know if this was a racket yet. And I'm a very, very, if you know me, I'm a problematically skeptical person. And I am now sitting here today with a retired wife and doing business with two of my best friends in the whole world, making more money than I ever have in my life. And it is very possible. So I would encourage you to plug into the right people and the right community and be open-minded and coachable and humble. And I promise you'll succeed. My name is Clark Stanley, and I want to invite you to come and see.